Do you know that mounting this Nikon lens on your Nikon DSLR can damage it? If not, watch this video. I will explain you everything you need to know in order to avoid that costly mistake. The first Nikon SLR, the Nikon F, was introduced in 1959. And unlike many of its competitors, Nikon kept the same mount all over the years. That means that some lenses that were built there can be mounted on modern DSLR. Some of the lenses that you can still buy today can be used on an original Nikon F without any issue. However, if some compatibility have been kept over the years, there are some little things that you need to know if you don't want to damage your SLR. When this mount was first introduced, most cameras didn't do any metering. However, you could get on a Nikon F a prism that will do the metering through the lens. In order to measure the light that is going through the lens, the camera needs to know the maximum aperture of your lens. On the first Nikon F, what you need to do was, when you mount the lens, was to clock it all and back in. Basically, you will move the aperture ring up and down like that. The prism will register what is the maximum aperture of your lens, and then you're set to go. Something that was not very convenient and that was easy to forget. So in 1997, when they came up with some new cameras, they came up with a new way to exchange this information between the lens and the camera. That is what we call the AI mount. AI stands for aperture indexing. And where in the older model you've got those little rabbits here that were used to inform the camera about your preset of aperture. In the new AR lenses, the same is done by this little piece of metal that is there. Okay, it will work a bit differently. It does not give the camera the maximum aperture, but it does, what it does, it tells the camera, for example, if I'm here on 5.6 and my maximum aperture is 2.8, it does tell the camera that it will receive only half of the light. That's what is visible at the moment. Okay, this is a much more elegant way of doing this, because you don't have to clock anything. You just mount your lens and it works. However, the way this been designed creates problem nowadays. Let me explain you why. On a Nikon Pre-AI, those mount doesn't have really a name, so people will call them Pre-AI or Non-AI or just Nikon F, so be aware. So what you have here is a little lip. This lip is designed to stop dust or water coming inside the camera. And what the engineer decided to do when they designed the AI lens, it says, well, they basically remove a part of the lip. Okay, this little thing here that you could imagine has been added for the AI lens. No, that wasn't added. It's always been there. It's everything else that's been removed. And that is why we have an issue. Let's see how it mounts on a Nikon FE. You can see that little prong here. That is where the camera gets the information about the aperture on your lens. So if I mount my AI lens on it, I will say that up. It comes and move with it. There's no problem. But if I'm using a Pre-AI lens on this same camera, it will not mount. Okay, because this is in the way. Obviously, because Nikon like to keep compatibility within the range, they designed this little plot here that you can press and then push that little piece of metal away. And now I can mount the lens, but obviously you can't meter properly with the camera. You need to use that step-down way of metering, which is very inconvenient. But at least you can mount this lens on this camera without causing any damage. Now let's see what's happened on a digital camera, on a modern DSLR. This one is my D4. If I remove the lens, we can see that we still have little prong here to get the same information from AI lens, which is really good. By the way, not all Nikon camera have that. It's only like medium range to the top of the range one. The lower range, like your 3000 range or the D40, D50, they don't have that. Which can be a blessing, because that means you can mount pre-IA lens on it without any problem. But if I try to mount this one on, and I'm not going to do it, you will see that this bit of plastic get in the way. And if I carry on doing it, the problem is, because it's plastic, it will get destroyed. You can, as on the FE, you could not mount the lens. On a digital camera, you will be able to mount the lens, but it will destroy that piece, and this will stop your camera from working. It will give you an error code, and that's it. You need to have a repair, and that can cost a lot of money. Okay, but if I use this lens, which is the AI lens, no problem, it mounts, and I can use it. Okay. Unfortunately, on digital DSLR, Nikon did not keep this good idea of letting you push that prong out of the way. There is only one DSLR that has that. It's a Nikon DF. The Nikon DF was basically supposed to be a copy of the old FE or FM, and that's why they kept the same system. But on all the other one, if you mount that lens, you will destroy your camera. So when you're buying a lens, you have to be very careful and be aware, and believe me, because I almost got caught like that several times. It is not because the seller tells you that his lens is an AI lens that it is. Because those pre-AI don't have a proper name, lots of the time they are just called Nikon F. With those one, when you see ad, usually mention the AI name, but people who are unaware of the difference, when they see an ad like that that says that's an AI mount, they're thinking, well, mine's the same, it's an AI mount too then. Well, no, it isn't. So be very, very careful. Make sure that you know how to recognize them. So how do you recognize them? Well, first, the most effective way is this lip here. Is it present all around or not? Okay, you can see here it's only present on a little fraction of the lens, and here it's present all around. But then there are other ways to tell. Those rabbit here on a older lens, like pre-AI lens, you can see that the here are solid. On AI or AI converted, this one is an AI converted lens, you can see that there are little holes in those rabbit here. Those holes are designed so that the light can go through, because another difference of that you have on AI mount lens is that you have the aperture is marked on the ring as always, but it's also marked in little just under the rabbit here. This is because camera like the Nikon F, Nikon FM or Nikon FE have a little window here that let you see from the viewfinder which aperture you've selected. Okay, that is why you have those little number here, and that is why you have those holes there. So that is also a good way to tell a Nikon AI lens from a Nikon pre-AI, the absence of those markings. Okay, be always very cautious when you mount a lens that you're not used to on your DSLR. Make sure you don't destroy anything. There is still good news for people who own or want to buy a pre-AI lens. Those lenses tend to be cheaper. So if you want to use a Nikon lens on a hybrid camera like a Lumix or a Sony or whatever, you will use an adapter ring, and those adapter rings always work as well with pre-AI lenses. So you can buy pre-AI lenses and they are usually cheaper. Between an AI and a pre-AI lens, you should see roughly a 20% difference of price. Okay, so you'll have a 20% discount when you buy a pre-AI. If you inherited a lens from your grandfather that you would love to use it, but it's a pre-AI, there are still shops that can do the conversion for you. Okay, all it takes, it's basically filling out a part of the slip. Each lens needs to be cut in a different way, so don't do it yourself. Make sure that you are using someone that knows how to do it, but there are still people doing it to this day. Actually, when they first released the AI lens, Nikon also released a kit to convert pre-AI lens to AI, and I think that's what's happened to this one. This one, it's an older lens. This model has been discontinued in 1974, if I remember well, and the AI lens arrived 3 years later, so it's obviously been converted by a Nikon kit, which make it look like perfect. When it's been converted manually, it can look a bit like a botched job, which is not very nice. So this concludes our video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this information will be useful to you, that you put it to good use. And if you found this video interesting, please click on the like button. You can also subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.